Can you imagine hearing a song that was written over 3,400 years ago? It seems unreal, but back in the 1950s, archaeologists uncovered something incredible. The oldest complete song ever discovered, scratched into ancient clay tablets. This musical relic survived for millennia and allows us to hear music from a civilization lost thousands of years in the past. Pretty mind-blowing. The Hurrian hymn is a remarkable piece of history, often referred to as the world's oldest known song. It owes its name to the enigmatic Hurrian civilization, which once thrived in Mesopotamia, an ancient region often hailed as the birthplace of human civilization. Mesopotamia, with its fertile lands between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, witnessed the rise of some of the earliest urban centers and empires. Dating and significance. The hymn itself is not just old but ancient, predating many foundational texts of Western civilization. To put its age in perspective, the Hurrian hymn was inscribed over a millennium before the legendary poet Homer penned the Odyssey, one of the West's earliest and most influential epics. Similarly, the composition of this hymn predates the assembly of the biblical texts, which have shaped religious thought for countless generations. Decoding the musical notation. So how did this ancient song manage to endure for over 3,000 years and still be playable today? Well, it was inscribed in a strange lost language called Hurrian, using a system of musical notation that looks nothing like our standard sheet music. The Hurrians wrote it in wedge-shaped cuneiform signs on tablets. But somehow, this abstract ancient code preserved the full melody, rhythm, and lyrics, the complete package. The tablets were discovered in the 1950s in the ruins of the Bronze Age city Ugarit, now a site in Syria. Archaeologists were excavating and stumbled upon pieces of crumbling clay inscribed with the percent-looking markings. At first, it was a total mystery what these tablets recorded, but scholars eventually decoded the cryptic script and realized these were pieces of a whole composition, the oldest full song ever found. It first sets up that the musical notation system used for the Hurrian hymn seems very odd and unfamiliar compared to modern notation. Using utterly strange emphasizes how different and strange it is. It then gives some examples of the unusual names used in the notation system, such as raised of the heel and reed pipe. These show readers how cryptic and esoteric the ancient terminology is. The terms refer to specific intervals and tunings for a 9-stringed lyre, an ancient instrument. This indicates the notation provided technical musical instructions, not just lyrics. Comparing it to weird ancient guitar tablature helps modern readers relate it to something more familiar. It served a similar function to guitar tabs, but ancient. Using weird again reinforces how odd it seems to us today. But before this discovery, historians assumed structured music only went back to ancient Greece. Yet here was concrete evidence of advanced musical tradition over 1,000 years older. Once they cracked the code, musicians were able to recreate this millennia-old song, and it sounded good. I don't know what I expected, but the melody is enjoyable and interesting. Clear evidence the Hurrians really knew how to write a tune. The lyrics are still challenging to understand though. Hurrian isn't a language modern linguists grasp fully, but from what we can tell, the hymn seems to be devoted to Nikkel, the Hurrian goddess of orchards. It was likely used in religious ceremonies to ask the gods for fertility and good harvests. Not surprising, as crops meant survival in those times. The Hurrians needed divine blessings for their livelihoods. More Hurrian hymns discovered. Sadly, the identity of the composer has been lost, but their musical accomplishment remains. Remarkably, over 30 other Hurrian hymn fragments were also found, an entire musical corpus from a forgotten culture. It seems music was thriving as an essential part of Hurrian civilization. In sculptures, we can even see their musical instruments and scenes of performance. The melodic expression clearly mattered to them. Composition in Ugaritic dialect. The Hurrian hymn was composed in the Ugaritic dialect of the ancient port city Ugarit, a cosmopolitan trade hub on the Syrian coast where ships brought goods and ideas from diverse cultures. This vibrant mix influenced the musical style of the hymn, composed by Hurrians in their own unique voice amid the blending of influences. Composition in a Ugaritic dialect, noting the hymn endured through the upheavals of history, emphasizes this local musical tradition survived despite the city's eventual destruction and being forgotten over time. The hymen's survival lets us appreciate a people otherwise obscure today. It's a small glimpse into a city and culture lost for millennia until this song emerged like a time capsule from below the ruins. And it shows music has been deeply embedded in human societies going back to the very origins of civilization, not just a recent development. The Hurrians had advanced melodic and rhythmic complexity, comparable to later cultures that get more credit for early music like ancient Greece. The oldest song in the world, the Hurrian hymn, puts sound to that endless longing felt by humans separated by thousands of years, but joined by musicality. It lets us connect to and understand our ancestors in a more deep-rooted way. Across the millennia, music communicates the vibrant pulse of life in ways even language cannot fully capture. This ancient hymn still resonates today, giving us a glimpse into a humanity much like our own, but from another era long gone by. Appreciating our musical heritage. So the next time you hum along to the latest pop song, consider that maybe someone 3,400 years from now will also appreciate the music of our times that manages to reach them. Melodies that seem lost forever can sometimes re-emerge unexpectedly, like the Hurrian hymn. Civilizations and songs may fade away, but new artists always arise to pick up those melodies and transform them into new creations. Though we may never hear all the beautiful music from antiquity, what survives grants us insight that human creativity never stood still, but always built upon what came before. Who knows how many other brilliant ancient songs were composed that remain undiscovered? But each relic, like the Hurrian hymn, gives hope more is out there waiting. And even the longest silences between notes can't stop the eternal song of humanity from unfolding into new and unexpected harmonies. Echoes across time. Our musical past echoes in the present, and present music resonates into the future. Songs long gone remain with us in spirit as influences and reminders of just how deeply music touches the human experience. So next time you hear an old jazz standard or classical symphony, consider how it connects you to previous generations through that shared language without words. Listen closely and their voices whisper still across the centuries, signaling us to add our own melodies to the unending composition called history. If you enjoyed learning about this ancient musical discovery, please be sure to like this video and subscribe or channel Unexplained Studios.